And a beautiful, beautiful morning to you in the city of Lagos State and wherever you're watching us around the world. This is Super Dawn and we're reaching you from Super Screen Television, UHF 45 and Star Times channel 173. I want to welcome you to today's edition, the Thank God It's Friday edition of Super Dawn, the breakfast program where we'll keep you up to date and up to speed with the latest around Nigeria and across the world. My name is Olamide Onwuka, and today's edition, as usual, promises to be very exciting because we are going to be taking it, a little on the high side because we are just recovering from the fever of the election. Also, not forgetting the fact that we have another election coming up on March 9th, which coincides with the conduct of the state governorship elections and the state assembly elections. So it's going to be interesting as we build up to the elections on Saturday, 9th of March. But, what we always advise you is, first of all, make sure you have a cup of coffee beside you, or you get a cup of tea, and also, just snacks and bread or maybe biscuits, so it'll go along because it's breakfast, and this is the breakfast show, and we'll promise to make it so exciting. And we'll also be waiting for your calls when the time comes. So just grab your phone and feel free to call us in the numbers that will be displayed on your screen when the time comes for you to make a contribution to the very interesting topic we will be discussing today. Right about now, we'll go on a break, and when we come back, the show officially starts with the newspaper review segment. Stay with us, Super Dawn continues after this break.
Super Dawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Super Screen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Alrighty, welcome back to the newspaper review segment on Super Dawn, and we have, as usual, 5 papers with us that we'll be reviewing. The first one is Punch newspaper, we have the Nation newspaper, we have Guardian, we have Vanguard, and of course we have the Daily Trust newspaper. So I'll just get it started with the Punch newspaper, being the first day of the month of March, and we have to say it's a very, very brand new month. So happy new month to our viewers watching us around the world here from Super Screen Television. So let's get the show started with the Punch newspaper. The first story on the Punch newspaper says, "You are not destined to rule, will meet in court." APC chair tells Atiku. You are not destined to rule, will meet in court. APC chair tells Atiku. Still on the presidential poll, results. Kuka Abdulsalami meet Atiku, Obi, others. Presidential poll results. Kuka Abdulsalami meet Atiku, Obi, others. 15 persons died of Lassa fever, 102 infected in 2 months in Ondo State. 15 persons died of Lassa fever, 102 infected in 2 months in Ondo State. This other one says, Falano's law firm sues Gbajabiamila for unpaid 20 million naira professional fee. Falano's law firm sues Gbajabiamila for unpaid 20 million naira professional fee. We have this other one that says, Onogen suspended, not removed. Federal government tells Supreme Court. Onogen suspended, not removed. Federal government tells Supreme Court. Still on the Punch newspaper, NLC dismisses Amosun's threat, insists on strike. NLC dismisses Amosun's threat, insists on strike. 450 million naira fraud, court to view CCTV chip of Belgore's visits to the bank. 450 million naira fraud, court to view CCTV clip of Belgore's visit to bank. This other one says, senatorial seats, APC wins Jonathan's district, 64 others. APC wins Jonathan's district, 64 others. Governorship polls, PDP laments alleged militarization of South-South. Governorship polls, PDP laments alleged militarization of South-South. And finally, on the Punch newspaper, INEC used 2015 stamp for senatorial election, Kogi candidate alleges. INEC used 2015 stamp for senatorial election, Kogi candidate alleges. And that's it on the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, moving away from the Punch newspaper on now to the Guardian newspaper, where the headline reads, Abdulsalami, Kuka meet Atiku over election result. Abdulsalami, Kuka meet Atiku over election result. And away from that, court jails ex-Air Force chief 21 years over arms deal. Court jails ex-Air Force chief 21 years over arms deal. And still on the headlines, Khan cautions El-Rufai over threat to demolish Dunamis churches. Khan cautions El-Rufai over threat to demolish Dunamis churches. And now on to court matters. ECOWAS court rules in favor of Agatu over 2016 killings. ECOWAS court rules in favor of Agatu over 2016 killings. And still on the elections, APC Ohaneze, others congratulate Buhari on victory, seek equity, peace. APC Ohaneze, others congratulate Buhari on victory, seek equity, peace. And Dixon visits, commiserates with family of slain PDP leader. Dixon visits, commiserates with family of slain PDP leader. Supreme Court fixes May 17 for ruling on Walter Onoge. Supreme Court fixes May 17 for ruling on Walter Onoge. APC group accuses Akeredolu of selling Ondo to PDP. APC group accuses Akeredolu of selling Ondo to PDP. And finally, on the Guardian newspaper, is this one that says, Atiku will never be president of Nigeria, says Shimole. Atiku will never be president of Nigeria, says Shimole. And if you're interested in any of the stories, you can pick up the Guardian newspaper and read up on them.
Away from that now to the Vanguard newspaper, where we have this story that says, why we endorse our king. That's coming from the Imo leaders. Why we endorse our king from Imo leaders. Still on the Vanguard, Sanwo-Olu, MC Oluomo meet Igbo, assures of safety. Sanwo-Olu, MC Oluomo meet Igbo, assure of safety. This other one says, presidential election, a rape of democracy. That's an article there on the Vanguard newspaper. Woman drags father to court for rejecting her fiancé. Interesting story there. Woman drags father to court for rejecting her fiancé. And 330 Nigerians to be deported from Libya today. 330 Nigerians to be deported from Libya today. And now, still on the Vanguard, TUC, senior civil servants rejoice with Buhari. TUC, senior civil servants rejoice with Buhari. Still on the Vanguard, election violence. Catholic Archbishop sues for peace. Catholic Archbishop sues for peace. This other one says Buhari may dissolve cabinet from before May 29th. That's coming from the presidency. Buhari may dissolve cabinet before May 29th. That's coming from the presidency. And finally, on the Vanguard newspaper, we have the story that says presidential poll. How the National Committee can ensure peace. That's from consultants. How the National Committee can ensure peace. That's coming from consultants. So lots of interesting story there on the Vanguard newspaper. If you're interested, just grab a copy of the Vanguard and read through.
All right, moving away from the Vanguard newspaper to the Nation newspaper is the headline that reads here, Oshomole to Atiku, we will meet you in court. Oshomole to Atiku, we will meet you in court. APC shows its strength with 65 selected senators. APC shows its strength with 65 selected senators. Obviously, APC from this report will be the majority party in the Senate. Obviously, from what we're seeing here with 65 selected senators. If you're interested in that story, if you want to know how many what party has how many senators and House of Reps members, you can pick up the Nation newspaper and read up on that report. But away from that, we've not removed Onogen, federal government, AGF tells Supreme Court. We've not removed Onogen, federal government, AGF tells Supreme Court. Atiku's agent plan Lagos takeover. Atiku's agent plan Lagos takeover. Saudi King, Emir of Qatar, Russian envoy greets Buhari. Saudi King, Emir of Qatar, Russian envoy greets Buhari. And now on the ex-Air Force chief. Ex-Air Force chief gets 21-year jail term for 136 million naira contract fraud. Ex-Air Force chief gets 21-year jail term for 136 million naira contract fraud. Peace panel meets Atiku. Peace panel meets Atiku. Still on the elections, how INEC rebuffed PDP's attempt to stop Buhari's victory. How INEC rebuffed PDP's attempt to stop Buhari's victory. Police arraign for alleged theft of 30 million naira jewelry. Police arraign for alleged theft of 30 million naira jewelry. Let's unchain Benue from underdevelopment, APC tell voters. Let's unchain Benue from underdevelopment, APC tells voters. And finally, Army warns fraudsters on recruitment exercise. Army warns fraudsters on recruitment exercise. And that's all on, for the Nation newspaper.
Okay, now finally on the Daily Trust newspaper, we will be reviewing the stories there. We have this the main story on the Daily Trust says 64 senators, 151 reps failed to return to National Assembly. 64 senators, 151 reps failed to return to the National Assembly. And the writer there says, as APC forms majority in Senate and House. As APC forms majority in Senate and the House. This other one says, Nigeria loses over 1.8 trillion naira to contract disputes. Details of that story is on page 17 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And also beside that story, we have Abdusalami Kuka meet Atiku Obi over polls outcome. The picture here shows a breakdown, a graphical breakdown of the election, the senatorial election, and the results there, with APC occupying 59% and PDP 37% of the House, while YPP so far has 1%. Remember, we still have 3 positions in the Senate that are not filled as of now. Okay, and we have in the House of Reps in 2019, they had 151 members, and now in 2015, they had 2,229 members, just 229 members. Okay, on again, Supreme Court fixes judgment for May 17. Supreme Court fixes judgment for May 17. Details of that story is on page 3 of the Daily Trust. INEC set for governorship elections in 29 states. INEC set for governorship elections in 29 states. Details in page 12 of the Daily Trust. Gunshots as police disrupt anti-Tinubu meeting in Lagos. Gunshots as police disrupt anti-Tinubu meeting in Lagos State. Let's go to the back page of the Daily Trust and see this one in sports. Barca lived up to world's best tag in Clasico. That's coming from Luis Suarez. Barca lived up to the world's best tag in Clasico from Luis Suarez. Details of that story is on page 55 of the Daily Trust. And in tennis, Osaka adds American Jenkins to team. Naomi Osaka adds American Jenkins to team. And also, Weir quits Women's World Championship with hand injury. And then the article here from Jibrin Ibrahim says presidential election and its aftermath. Presidential election and its aftermath. So loads of interesting stories there on the front and back page of the Daily Trust. Grab a copy, read through for details in full. Well, Precious, as usual, which of the stories actually tickles your fancy?
I will pick one on the Nation newspaper that talks about the fact that the Army has warned against fraudulent recruitment. We know that when it comes to government agencies, over and over again, we see fraudulent recruitment. We see accounts on Facebook, websites that are not, of the federal government, and then people fall victim, pay so much money to get into these agencies, especially the security agencies, and then pay so much because they have been told that you have to pay, and now the Army is warning individuals against fraudulent recruitment. I think Nigerians should be wise by now. I don't think the federal government will ask you to pay any amount of money just to get a job with any government agency. Yeah,
sure. I think I agree with you. It's a very interesting story and a good observation there. Well, I think for me, I would go with the story that has to do with the National Assembly, the 9th Assembly taking shape with the APC forming the majority of the House and PDP on just coming closer. Apparently just taking the minority, where you have the YPP producing 1 senator so far. So the 9th Assembly for me is taking shape, and that for me is just the most interesting part of this whole story. And we have 3 undecided seats in Imo, Kogi, and 1 other state, I think Benue, if I'm not mistaken. So remember, Rocha Sokorocha is also in the mix. About some of the, the returning officer
said he pronounced him winner under duress, yes.
I don't know what's going to happen there, but we're still keeping tabs on that one to find out what's going to happen there.
I mean, it's interesting to see the 9th Assembly taking shape, like you said. There have been a lot of issues around the National Assembly. Nigerians are waiting for the National Assembly where they can say, look, this is the one we've been waiting for. This one cares about Nigerians. We want to also see a National Assembly that will pass a relevant bill. So as we get to know who the senators are, it will also help us understand better what might play out in the House in terms of leadership, of the House. So it's quite interesting to see all of that. This dispensation, whether it's in the executive or the legislature, coming together after the elections.
And also interesting is to note that a lot of the sitting senators, current senators, will not be returning.
Returning, yes, even the House of Reps.
Now we have new faces in the House, and it's just only time will tell what will happen. They form an important part of the arms of government, lawmakers, and you can't take anything away from that. But we're really looking at the impact and the effect their presence will have on the House. That's what we're looking at for right
We'll
now.
find out in June. They'll be inaugurated in June, so we'll get to find out all of that intrigue in June.
Definitely.
All right, now let's take a break, and when we return, we'll be talking about something centered around the election. Of course, the buzz about the election is not over, especially as relates to the opposition party, People's Democratic Party, whose presidential candidate has said he's going to court. But there's been a lot of advice to him not to go to court. People say that he should, they don't trust the justice system. Others said he should just act as an elder statesman, told the part of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, and concede defeat, congratulate the president. How that plays out, it remains to be seen how that plays out. But we're going to take a break, and when we return, that conversation will be next on Super Dawn. Do stay with us.